There's an Italian restaurant in Midtown Manhattan called Becco that might just offer the best pasta deal in New York City. For $35, one gets an appetizer and unlimited portions of the day's 3 different pastas. I just had to check it out, and I sure ate a hell of a lot. Today I'm here at Bryant Park, and it is a sunny, beautiful, crisp and cool winter day, but it's not just any day of the week, it's actually Valentine's Day. Now once again, I am celebrating this holiday as a single person, but I at least have a date tomorrow. Anyways, I'm not the biggest fan of going to restaurants on Valentine's Day to begin with anyways. Usually they're super crowded, and those special Valentine's Day menus are so expensive and overpriced and not the greatest. I recently heard about this restaurant called Becco. It's an Italian place, and they offer an appetizer and unlimited pasta for about 35 bucks. The restaurant had me at unlimited, but it's not just one pasta that you get endless portions of. It's 3 different pastas, and they're all very unique. I love eating, and I will definitely spend a lot to eat the best food, but I also, like everyone, love a good bargain. And right off the bat, 35 bucks sounds like such a great price, but the food does have to be good. That's what I found out today for my lunch. This was my meal of unlimited pasta at Becco. Becco is located in the Theater District just a couple of blocks away from Times Square. The name of the restaurant is derived from the Italian verb peccare, which means to peck. It was in 1993 that Becco opened its doors from chef, TV host, and restaurateur Lidia Bastianich, along with her son, Joe Bastianich. Over the course of her long career, Lidia has received numerous accolades, including a James Beard Award. She also opened the Michelin-starred and sadly closed Italian restaurant Del Posto in collaboration with her son. In addition, Lidia is also a partner in Italy. From the outside, Becco doesn't seem like the largest restaurant, but inside it's quite sizable. It's a decent looking establishment, although I've gotta say, the row of tables in which I was seated at I felt were a bit too close to the wall. Now, I'm not the biggest guy, and I could have used a bit more space. Plus, if one orders the unlimited pasta special, you're gonna be a bit larger by the time you leave, making getting up from your table more of a challenge. If the restaurant just moved the tables away a few inches from the wall, I think it would make a big difference. Also, the tables weren't the largest either. Soon after I was seated, I was given both the food and beverage menus along with the bread basket, some olives, and a spread. There was hardly any room on the table left. It certainly would have been a tight squeeze if I had a dining companion. Anyways, I took a look at the menu. Now, I knew that I was going to get Becco's famous Sinfonia Di Paste, which included a choice between 2 appetizers followed by unlimited pasta, but I also took in the rest of the menu. There were a number of Italian restaurant staples, but also some more unique options with what seemed like fair prices, at least by New York City standards. Next, I explored the beverage list, which had a decent selection of Italian wine, but what caught my eye were the affordable $40 bottles. A pair of diners could share a bottle, both get the unlimited pasta special, and enjoy a very affordable and filling meal. For me though, I just stuck with water. After ordering, I turned my attention to the bread, but before I could even try it, my appetizer was presented, the antipasto misto. The dish was an assortment of marinated and grilled vegetables, along with various seafood preparations. On the main plate were a number of grilled vegetables, such as carrots and asparagus, but there was also cheese and beans. The main profile of the dish was acidic. It really was a great start to brighten up my palate for the pasta that lay ahead. Alongside the vegetables were small servings of seafood. One of the bowls contained salmon, which unfortunately was a bit tough, but it at least had an alright flavor. The other dish contained onions and baby octopus. There wasn't much octopus in the bowl, however, but it was still at least pleasant. As a whole, the antipasto misto was a nice start to my lunch. The other option I could have picked was the Caesar salad, which I saw others order, and it looked pretty good, but I was certainly happy with my choice. In the meantime, I also got to try the bread. There were 3 different kinds, which included breadsticks, which were fine. There was also a focaccia, which might have been my favorite out of the 3. It was nice and fresh and was topped with a bit of flaky sea salt. Finally, there was what could have been a crispy sort of sourdough, which I really enjoyed as well. I also tried the bread with the sort of spread I was given, and it paired pretty nicely. However, while I did plan to fill up on carbs, I didn't want them to come from the bread, rather I wanted to stuff myself with the pasta. Plus, besides the appetizer and bread, I did enjoy munching on the bowl of olives that were provided, which included a few different varieties. After finishing my appetizer, I was given a large clean plate, signifying that it was pasta time and I was hyped. It wasn't long before servers bearing large bowls of the day's pasta preparations began circling the dining room and dishing out their offerings. The first pasta I received was an artichoke ravioli, but before I could even start eating it, another server came to my table and added a large portion of spaghetti alla chitarra with tomato and fresh basil to my plate.
Thank you so much. Perfect.
Then a third server came to me not long after the last with the final pasta of the day, a sort of veal ragu.
Thank you.
Now, with all three pastas on my plate, I was pleased by the sight. In fact, the pasta sort of took on the shape of a heart. Even though it was Valentine's Day, I don't think that the look was intentional. However, I love my food and I love when it loves me back. It was time to start digging in. Since the ravioli was the first pasta on my plate, I tried that one first. It was delicious and incredibly satisfying. The pasta was nice and fresh and perfectly cooked. The artichoke sauce was the element that really made the dish, as it had a wonderful and savory flavor. Now, it wasn't the thickest ravioli, as it was only lightly stuffed with ricotta. I appreciated this, as the pasta felt not only well balanced, but not as heavy as some ravioli, which is good because, like I said before, I plan to eat a hell of a lot. Next, I tried the veal ragu, which, just like my first pasta, was another winner. The pasta was perfectly cooked, but it was the rich and luscious veal that was the true highlight. It had a wonderful texture, and it was really nice to have some meat on the plate. In fact, Becco does a great job providing 3 different and exciting pastas each day. But one creation that almost seems to be a menu standard is a simple pasta consisting of tomatoes and basil. In my case, it was the spaghetti alla chitarra, which I tried next. It's simple, it's classic, and most importantly, it's delicious. The pasta was executed perfectly, and the sauce was nicely balanced between sweet and acidic. Plus, I almost always enjoy the addition of basil, and the spaghetti was no exception, as the herb gave the course a pleasant freshness. Altogether, that was a delicious plate of food, and I loved switching back and forth from the different pastas to get the various flavors and textures. While I thought that the pasta was great as it was, Becco also provides diners with a bowl of Parmesan cheese, and it's a hell of a big bowl. It was such a massive portion, they've got to have barrels of that stuff back in the kitchen. Nevertheless, I of course wanted to try my pasta with a bit of the parm. However, before I could try my pasta topped with the cheese, one of the servers came to my table and asked if I wanted more ravioli, and I said, hell yeah. Not long after, another server gave me another portion of the ragu. Although, the spaghetti man didn't pay me another visit, which I was fine with because I already had a lot on my plate, and I mean that literally. Anyways, I got to try my pasta topped with the Parmesan, and as expected, it was very lovely. All in all, I was just really enjoying my lunch. While I definitely appreciate the refinement and innovation of the pasta courses served in New York City's Michelin-starred and most popular Italian restaurants, Becco's unlimited pasta offering is just plain fun. Having servers roam around the restaurant topping up plates with pasta lent a sort of family-type meal atmosphere, which I really enjoyed. But of course, the food is the real highlight, and I wanted more. I got a third serving of the ravioli, and then I got a third serving of the ragu.
Thank you.
Finally, I was getting a second helping of the spaghetti.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was getting my money's worth. With each additional serving, the pasta consistently maintained the same quality. All of them were hot, fresh, and delicious. While I usually like ending my meal with a dessert, I didn't want to waste any of my stomach space to anything else besides pasta. And And speaking of stomach space, I was reaching my breaking point. At that point, I was full and I felt like I definitely got my money's worth, but I was more so being driven by ego to clean my plate. However, I was on the verge of bursting and I didn't finish. Although I'm sure the restaurant would rather wash my plate as opposed to me potentially eating too much and accidentally making a mess all over the table.
I have reached my limit. I am stuffed.
Finally, it was time for the bill, which totaled to $38.05, but with my tip, I spent about $45, which was so worth it. I am so frickin' full right now, but boy did I get my money's worth, and that was pretty damn good. Every pasta I had was very tasty, they were cooked just right, but it was also just really fun eating at Becco. It felt like I was eating a homey, comforting, family-type meal at Becco, although even though I was alone, I pretty much ate the amount of food a family does. And the guys roaming around the restaurant with the bowls of pasta, they weren't serving dinky little portions, no. They were serving big, heaping platefuls of pasta. The pasta was definitely very satisfying, but I also really enjoyed my appetizer. I mean, that was like the perfect way to start off my lunch. You know, that pasta deal would be the perfect thing to have for carb loading before a marathon. I remember when I ran the Portland Marathon, the day before I went to this one pasta restaurant. I can't remember the name of it, but I ordered so much food there that when one of the servers came to my table with all the courses that I ordered, he thought that there must have been a mistake because no one could possibly eat all that food. But yeah, all that food was for me. Yeah, Becco would definitely be a great place to eat before a marathon or a race. Anyways, I cannot recommend Becco and their pasta deal enough. You definitely get your money's worth. It's so nice to have a deal like this in New York City, pretty much the most expensive place on earth. I will definitely return to Becco one day for their pasta deal, but it probably won't be for a little while. It will probably take a bit of time even for the food I ate today to digest. Now, of course, this Valentine's Day would have been better if I had someone special to celebrate it with, but I at least had some good food today, and that made me happy.